Hi guys, I'm channeling Sunny today. I love Sunny. She's one of my favorite characters. She and Frank are they're pretty amazing, and they're part of the reason that Sid's life is so well rounded. And even though to her the abnormal is her normal, and she craves normal, she treats them like they're normal. So it's kind of a funny dichotomy. Anyway, there is a deleted scene from the original manuscript where Sonny and Frank tell Sid where he met Sonny and how that happened. And so it was removed from the original screenplay, or sorry, not screenplay, manuscript, but I'm going to read you a little bit of it today. It shows up again. Sunny's got her own book coming. As you know, Sassafras has a book, and FPL now has a giant series. It was only supposed to be one book, but Sunny's book is actually outlined, and it'll be coming out once everything gets rolling again. And so you'll find out more about how Sunny and Frank met, but I'm going to read you this excerpt today. So, you never heard how I became a vampire, did you, Sid? I shook my head at my uncle, the usual way, I guess. Uncle Frank and Sonny both laughed, but there was no humor in it. The air seemed cold, and I hugged myself. Yeah, Sid, the usual way, but you don't know why. It was my fault, Sonny blurted. No way, Sunshine, Uncle Frank stopped her. Mine, all the way. Hang on a sec, I said. Are you saying that you... I made your uncle a vampire, Sonny said. She saved my life, Uncle Frank said, after I let vampires feed on me. He what? Seriously, Uncle Frank, what did you expect would happen? You're a witch, or you were. You know vampirism is contagious. How did you let a vampire feed on you? Because, Sid, Uncle Frank spoke so softly I had to strain to hear over the growing noise in the kitchen. That's just it. I wasn't a witch. An old and aching sadness stood in his eyes that made me want to hug him as hard as I could and never let go. I was born into the most powerful witch family in the country, the only son, second born, and I was born normal. Suddenly, I felt like total crap. I had spent my entire life using Uncle Frank as a crying post, the only person I thought understood my feelings about being a witch. I had spent countless hours commiserating over my miserable life with him, and he had offered only comfort and understanding. He was very powerful in magic. I just assumed that the journey to the undead had accentuated his abilities, not created them. I'm sorry, Uncle Frank, I said. I'm not, he answered. I spent my whole life trying to raise my magic. You think you feel like a fish out of the aquarium. Imagine being the only person in your whole family who can't do magic, who everyone looks to with pity and treats like a class idiot, the normal who doesn't fit in. My parents didn't know what to do with me. The coven ignored me and banished me from ceremonies. I couldn't get it, Sid. Don't you see? I wasn't one of them and never would be. The only person who cared, who tried to help, was your mother. Miriam was the oldest. She saw it hers as her responsibility to help me find my magic. She defended me so much, I wondered if she felt guilty. She had so much magic. She was even more powerful than our mother, and worried. That was the reason that I didn't have any. I didn't blame her. Well, later, just a little. I started thinking the same thing, when we finally realized her full potential. I got to the point where I rejected everyone in the family and just ran away. I traveled for a few years, trying to see what it was like to be normal, but I craved the power, the belonging. It seemed like everywhere I went, I met witches who knew our family. That went over well. He made a face, angry and cynical at the same time. More judging and rejection from total strangers. I was away when your grandmother, my mother, faced the purity coven, Frank said. But I wasn't there to help her. I always felt guilty. Like if I had had power, maybe FPL would still have her mind. Mom tells me nothing could have saved Grandma, Uncle Frank, I said. She gave up too much, Uncle Frank nodded. Still, you can guess how I felt. I decided to try to find magic on my own, by any means necessary. It really hadn't occurred to me, maybe I was born to be a normal after all. I always believed the magic was hidden, blocked somehow. If I could just find the right spell, the right ritual, I could release it and finally claim my birthright. I tried everything, Sid, as guilty as that makes me feel. Yes, I even dabbled in negative magic. It never went very far. but only because I couldn't bear the price. I contacted demons and foreign covens, witch doctors and priests, but no one could help me. No one. At least, that's what I thought, until I met Sonny, and everything changed. Frank changed everything for me too, Sid, Sonny said softly. Someone in the kitchen laughed, and we all jumped. Sonny giggled. It feels like we're breaking the rules, Frank. We are. Keep going, Sunshine. She nodded. I've been around a long time, Sid, she said. And no, a lady doesn't tell her age, but I will tell you this. I've been here long enough to know someone like your Uncle Frank and the wonderful family that made him don't come around very often. When I met Frank, I'd been alone for a long time. I'd given up the traditional vampire ways of feeding on normals and turned to already drawn blood. Not as satisfying, but it does the trick. I'd decided it was too dangerous for me to be around normals from then on, and had begun to search for a place I could hide for the rest of eternity. I found him dying in an alley, the victim of vampires he thought he could trust, left to bleed out when they abandoned him. Stupid plan, but I got it. Belonging at any cost. Sonny finished the job, Uncle Frank said, and made me the undead I am today. That's crappy, Uncle Frank. No offense, Sonny, I said. None taken, she said with a smile. I disagree, Sid. I'm exactly where I want to be, and because of Sonny and the vampirism, my power, my magic, emerged. I'm finally what I wanted all along. But the coven! I was really mad at everybody in the kitchen all of a sudden. Didn't they know what he'd gone through to be one of them? You're still on the outside, Uncle Frank. Of the coven, yes, but not the magic community. We vampires, we have our own family, Sid. Knowing what you know, being who you are, how could you put up with me all that time? I was outraged at him, at myself. I would have smacked me upside the head like about 1,000,000 years ago. Because, Sid, despite the fact we wanted opposite things, you were exactly like me. You just wanted to fit in, to be normal, like everyone else. Except normal to you is, well, exactly that. I got it. I get it. And I love you for it. I feel a huge butt hanging out there, Uncle Frank, I said. He nodded, serious. Be careful, Sid. Very careful what you wish for. It never happens exactly the way you want. It can severely bite you in the butt. And the power, it doesn't just go away. It hides for a while, and when it comes out, it can take everything away again. And that's it. That is the excerpt. Okay, so as usual, there's some awesome Swagalicious that you can win. Just comment below, either on my website, on Facebook page, or on YouTube. What? Something's happening. Something's happening. Excuse me. Just a little, blip there. Anyway, like I said, there's great swag to win, so don't forget to comment, and I will enter you to maybe get a nice treat. So I will see you guys tomorrow, and have an awesome day. Doodles!